So I want to ask you about one particular answer from Vice President Biden. They asked him about what he said 40 years ago, and they clarified that it was 40 years ago. But they asked him about how he said, I don't really care what happened 300 years ago. And let's be honest, he said it was in reference to what happened to African Americans 300 years ago. Now, instead of correcting that record or saying that he regrets those comments, he started talking about how we got to play record players to kids.
Yeah,
what did you?
Psychologists and poor parents need to be, basically what I heard, poor parents need to do a better job of raising their children, as if just being poor makes you not a good parent. I was highly offended by that as a black woman. I'm trying to keep cool, calm, and collected, that the vice president couldn't say that the slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, bigotry, institutional racism, and all the hell that black people have caught since our ancestors were brought to this country as slaves on ships is a scourge on this country. And I apologize for what I said 40 years ago. But no, instead, he just went down this path that made it even worse, Cenk. And it's just an insensitivity. And not only that, right here on the campus of a historically black college, he said those things about African Americans. We are the only group that Democrats like that can just, I'm trying not to curse here, who can just take advantage of us and just say any old thing about us, our history, and the legacy of that slavery. And it's not just that it's what's happening to African Americans right now. There's a study out that says that it would take 228 years for the average black family to catch up to the wealth of the average white family if we stay on this course, if nothing changes. What that means is that it's never going to happen, that black people are being resigned to a future that says that we are never going to have wealth in this country, and that it doesn't matter if your parents have a college degree or whether or not your parents are wealthy or not. If you are black in this country, that wealth that was made on the blood, sweat, the backs of chattel slavery in this country can never be undone. And you got a vice president that was totally, just totally numb to that. I mean, he just didn't care. I don't even know what the answer he gave. That one got to me a lot. You know, just as a black woman, has nothing to do with my support of my senator. This is me as a black woman in America to hear the former vice president who served under the first black president give such an asinine, senseless, and insensitive answer about the legacy of chattel slavery in this country.
Yeah, you know, I actually think Marianne Williamson put it pretty well in the last debate when she said a debt is owed. Yes. And so when people like Vice President Biden say, I don't give a damn what happened 300 years ago, well, you're also saying, I don't care that we betrayed the promise of 40 acres and a mule, and in the after Reconstruction, that
federal troops just pulled out for political reasons. Here we are again. Politics wins the day, and it doesn't matter who you destroy to get it. The federal troops pulled out of the South, and it went back to business as usual, and nothing has really changed in a deep way in this country since then. You look at all the maternal death rates of black women, infant mortality rates of black children, the disproportionality of poverty in black communities, high blood, health outcomes, you name it, we have it. And so again, to have the vice president just to flat out not give a damn about it, because that's pretty much what he said 40 years ago, and he doubled down on it again today. Everybody should be concerned about that, and especially the black community, to allow anybody to take us just flat out for granted like that. Not even say, you know what, I was wrong about that.
So, Senator Turner, one last question.
The original sin, Cenk, of this country, besides stealing the land from our indigenous sisters and brothers, generation after generation. If you were a black mother, to know that you would birth a black baby into the world and that baby would be a slave because of your condition, generation after generation. And we didn't even have to go that far back. Again, look at what's happening. Highest rates of incarceration of black men. More black men being gunned down, unarmed black men being gunned down by police, a system that sees black people as somehow less human and less worthy than anybody else. And you got a vice president, under the first black president at a historically black college, say what he said tonight. It's a damn shame.
So do you think that Bernie Sanders is the best candidate for African Americans, and why?
I do believe that the senator is. First of all, he does understand that we have to deal with institutional racism and bigotry in this country. He does understand. First of all, he supports H.R. 40, which Representative Conyers was right on that we need to bring people together, not to study the horrors. We know what this country did. But what is the best path forward to repair, to have truth and reconciliation? The senator and I were just talking about that just yesterday. We need truth and reconciliation in this country. But while we're doing that, you have in Senator Bernie Sanders somebody who says that my Medicare for all, I'm going to deal with making sure that we deal with health outcomes in this country when it comes to African Americans, more black doctors, more black nurses, more black teachers, investments in HBCUs that disproportionately to the positive graduate black students at higher rates than any other institution, making sure that the $15 an hour minimum wage, which black women to this day still make less on the dollar than the average white man. And I would love to see what our averages are between us and white women. But he does understand the economics that this is both class and caste. So while we do impanel the best minds in this world to deal with the scourge of slavery, redlining, Jim Crow, black codes, you name it, blacks just flat out still catching hell in this country, you still need to have a president who is very clear about white supremacy and bigotry and institutional racism. And the senator has said that everywhere that he goes, and he doesn't just say it when he's in front of black people. You know, he just had the candidates just went before an organization to talk about, he was asked the question, it was called Faith in Action. He was asked the question about what he would do with white supremacy in this country. He said, we going to war with white supremacy in this country. He gets it. You know, his father, came over here, a Jewish man escaping the Holocaust, where Senator Sanders, most of his father's family was wiped out in the Holocaust. He understands this. As a 19-year-old, the very age of many of the young people here on this campus, he was fighting against that kind of bigotry. So it is in his soul. It's something that he didn't just start today or to talk about on the stage because he's running for president. He, in many ways, has been on the justice journey all of his life. So yes, he is the best for African Americans, and yes, he will deal with the scourge and the sin of institutional racism in this country, the original sin of this country.
The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.